I'm going to begin, Ruby, by asking if you could tell me a little bit about your character and how she fits into this particular story.
Sure. Adele is XXx. She's part of the kind of league that Vin pieces together to help him kind of combat this issue at large. And she is a trained sniper. She's very dedicated, hardworking, strong, independent woman. And she's also an animal rights advocate. The way that her scene kind of introduces her is one of the things that captured me when I was reading the script, that she has this kind of juxtaposition of being, very caring about the world and caring about animals and caring about people, but then also when something needs to be done, she gets it done. And that's kind of Adele. She's also, Xander Cage's right-hand man, and Vin likes to describe it as this sort of gender-irrelevant bromance, because it would usually be a role that would probably be two males or two females. But having a male and a female in a non-romantic sense, having this unconditional love where they would take a bullet for one another, is not something you see on camera very often.
And I was wondering how you sort of came to be involved, because it sounds like Vin sort of travelled the world assembling this cast like a sort of A-team. So I was wondering, did he just sort of turn up unannounced in your garden in a helicopter? Or is that just a kind of romantic idea of how this all came together?
It's probably not that far from the truth. He is very hands-on like that, as a producer on it as well. And Xander being so close to him and such a personal role for him, he definitely wanted to make sure that everyone that he chose for each character was exactly who he wanted that would fit. And him and Joe Roth, who was another producer, they kind of told me from the very beginning that they really wanted me to play Adele. And Sam Jackson and Vin were attached, but I didn't know about anybody else yet. And they were still kind of looking. And when I found out about, Deepika from India, and I just was like, that she is stunning, she is beautiful. And I looked at some of her work, and she's so talented. And find out Toni Collette from Australia as well, I was super stoked. Then you've got Tony Jaa and Donnie Yen, and it just Chris Wu. It became this cast that was just getting more and more global. And I just thought, wow, this is going to be spectacular for people to see.
And do you think, is it quite helpful coming onto an established franchise like this? Because I guess because there are 2 films already in this series.
I think it's a bit of both. It's a little bit of, you don't want to let down the fans that were there from the beginning, that have their idea of what they kind of envisage the sequel to be. But at the same time, knowing that it's been 15 years since the first one, you know that things are going to modernize, they're going to change, and they're going to continuously change throughout even the process of filming. So you have to be adaptable, but you also want to stay true to the nature of what Xander Cage represented. And in this case, it wasn't frightening and it wasn't difficult. It was more of a, we felt very honored to be part of and invited into his world. But we also got given full freedom to do whatever we wanted with the characters, to make them who we wanted them to be. And that's why everyone kind of has a little bit of themselves in the character.
And you've got some huge projects coming up. I mean, John Wick Chapter 2, which is coming out really soon.
Yeah.
I just adored the first movie. What can fans expect of the sequel?
I think that everything that was successful in John Wick, the first one, and everything that everyone loved about it, you're going to see more of that. Keanu is such a tremendous character in this. He's so strong in it. And it's one of my favorite roles for him, to be honest. And then at the same time, you're going to see, obviously new people, new assassins, new villains, new characters, and some of the old people coming back. But it's kind of everything that you can imagine and more.
And equally as exciting, Pitch Perfect 3.
Yeah.
So how does your character fit into that story?
I cannot tell you. That's we haven't even started shooting it, so it's very. But I'll tell you, she's very different to the last 3 characters that I've played.
It must be quite cool as well to be kind of combining the passion of music and film, though, in that role.
Yeah, and I think that after doing 3 action films, and then I did a shark film as well, it's about to go into comedy. Is kind of like how Vin feels about going into Xander Cage and why it meant so much to him after playing Dom for so many years. It's like, okay, cool, so I've done so many action films, which I just love innately, but going and doing something that challenges me in a different way and will be a lot of fun and maybe a little bit less grueling on the old body is going to be a kind of good, just a nice little sea change for a minute.
And can you see yourself returning to the smaller screen, to TV in the near future as well? I mean, because obviously at the moment it seems to be lots of films on the big screen. But I mean, can you see yourself still moving between the two?
Oh, totally. Yeah. There's wonderful content on streaming services. There's wonderful content on TV, and I think that there's amazing films that come out, and then there's also a lot of directors that used to direct film or write for film or writing for TV. So there's a big crossover, and it's kind of interesting that as film kind of changes and it adapts like it needs to and is doing, TV is doing the same. So they're kind of setting a really good example and not competing with one another, but they're definitely lifting the bar, which is actually really good for both.
And I was reading a really interesting interview of you recently about Orange is the New Black and like where you were before that show. I mean, how much do you owe that series to not just your career, but your life as well?
Everything. I say it all the time. I even was writing to Jen Houston last night. She had seen me on Ellen and was really appreciative that I mentioned that she was the one that cast me and how much it changed my life. And if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would be here doing this right now. And not a day goes by that I don't thank, Orange is the New Black, or that I don't thank Resident for being my first film, and I don't thank John Wick for being the second, and X for being the third. And it's people that take a chance in you and that they believe in you. They really... the kinds of people that you never really forget and that you're always kind of, indebted to without them ever wanting that. They don't want that. They do it out of the kindness of their heart. But Orange definitely changed my life in a way that I could never imagine.
Because, I mean, there's so many incredibly talented actors and actresses out there that are just waiting for that break. I mean, how much of this industry is kind of reliant on someone just taking a chance on people?
It's not well, okay, it's a tricky one. Yes, it definitely takes somebody taking a chance in you, and it's all about timing. But you can't rely on somebody else to do it for you. So when I couldn't get a job for 2 years, I made a short film, and had I not had the success from that led me to Orange, I would have made another one, and then I would have, done more writing or producing or directing, and until I could get in there, But if it wasn't for the fact that Jen Houston opened that door for me, I couldn't have kicked it down to do all the things that I've done. But you can't, never sort of sit there and think that, okay, I'm good at what I do, and I really want to do this, so hopefully someone will let me do it. You've kind of got to make your way in there, whichever journey you have to take.
Well, thanks so much for your time today.
Of course, thank
much
you.
Appreciated. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey, you